Call me Master Zen cause I'm a flicky bands.
Right, gift boy, see stupid title. Okay, why did I did? I feel like me doing that. It's like I just took a line of coke, bro. You know it's in time. Let's get into it, man. No.
Believing they can live in paradise, a family travels to an uninhabited island, only to become entangled in rivalries with other settlers. In 1932, Dr. Friedrich Ritter and Dora are meditating in their camp when a group of strangers calls out to them. The patriarch introduces himself as Heinz Wittmer, while his wife is Margaret, and their son is Harry. He then
They gotta be hit. They gotta be hit. No. I don't know why I want to say they gotta be Adolf. No. I'm trying to say they gotta be German, bro. With them names and the way they looking, they look very German to me. Nice!
explains that his family was inspired to travel to the island and start anew due to their story. However, Dora, insulted by their appearance, questions whether they also influenced them to wear safari clothes. Apologetically, the visitor clarifies that the newspapers in Germany claim that it's their design.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm very surprised too, because I was like, man, their names, the way they look, shorty hairstyle, it's very nice. For me, hey, I almost did the salute. Turns out they're actually German, okay.
Desired attire. The doctor expresses his confusion, so Heinz reveals that he's been a sensation in the country for over a year now. To prove it, he grabs a torn-out newspaper page and hands it to his idol. As the couple scans the article, Dora complains that they are wrongly portrayed, but her husband finds it interesting. He then inquires if their visitors have more of them, and the man proudly shares books featuring him. Abruptly, Friedrich invites them to have a tour of his garden, much to the family's delight. There, the doctor informs Heinz that they're strictly vegetarian, and they built a net to protect their crops against animals. Meanwhile, his wife asks Margaret if she's Harry's birth mother. The housewife admits that she's his stepmother since Heinz's first wife passed away. Back to their husbands, Friedrich warns his visitor that there are no lakes or rivers on the island, and so there
This a PC, okay, laptop about sama.
only source of potable water is two small springs that collect rainwater. Friedrich warns his visitor that there are no lakes or rivers on the island, and so their only source of potable water is two small springs that collect rainwater.
The fuck is potable water? What happened to just saying drinkable water, bro? Bro, y'all boys in English, bro. It's like, okay, certain words, you feel me, just trying to like sound posh or like, I don't know, not so simple. Like, how to put this? There's like entry-level English, and then there's like level 2. Why is there a need for level 3, bruv? Damn.
With this in mind, he discourages him from pursuing his lifestyle, emphasizing that others can't survive the harsh and frustrating life they've endured. He then asks Heinz why he visited, and he confesses that he can't afford his son's treatment for tuberculosis. That afternoon, the first settlers guide the Wittmers to an isolated field and encourage them to use the caves as their shelter. Before leaving, Friedrich points out the location of their water source, a small crack between the rocks. Once he's away, Margaret voices her fear of survival, given that they have limited resources. Shortly after, in the Ritter's home, Dora complains about their guests, believing that they'll only depend on them. She reminds her partner that they fled to the island for solitude, not to be distracted by strangers.
Shit, niggas getting coochie every day, no
Friedrich stops her negative thoughts by revealing
I don't know, that's the first thing I'm thinking about. Hey, bro, shit. The best, I ain't gonna lie, the best life is like, hey, well, for me, I be living by myself. I be dolo. So I'm a person that prefers like being inside the crib. I'm an introvert. Yeah, I do love being inside, but I prefer staying in the crib as long as I got my my PC, my food, and all that. For me, shit, my little shot of you for me, yeah, I'm good. Bro, the best life is when you got the shorty. That's like, she like your best friend and she your shorty. That's the best thing. Shit, you don't need no friends.
Not to be distracted, depend on them. She reminds her partner that they fled to the island for solitude, not to be distracted by strangers. Friedrich stops her negative thoughts by revealing that he left the family in the caves to perish. Upon hearing this, the woman cheers up and even deems him a genius. The next morning, the Whitmers start building an irrigation system using bamboo, not minding the scorching heat. After a few days of hard work, the family successfully creates their reservoir. One night, Margaret emotionally informs her husband that she's pregnant, afraid that he would be upset. Contrary to her assumption, Heinz is delighted. The next day, as the Ritters are making love, they hear a strange noise coming from the seashore. Disturbed, Friedrich grabs his binoculars and discovers a boat, making him realize that they have another visitor. Not long after, a woman accompanied by a group of men makes a grand entrance into their property, causing Dora to scoff in disbelief. The stranger introduces herself as Baroness Eloise Verborn de Wagner Busquets.
Fuck arrea, nigga. Puta, man. Niggas not trying to hear nothing, bro. You bet on this, man. We move.
And urges the survivor to kiss her hand.
Yo, if niggas had guns, bro, I shot her shit right there with a shotgun, boy.
Instead of complying, she offers a handshake, the one that is covered in animal manure. The aristocrat is visibly disgusted, but she calmly inquires about the doctor's whereabouts. Immediately, the man appears lacking some clothing, leading Eloise to compliment his appearance. She admits that she's been longing to meet the couple, given that they're famous in Europe for founding a kingdom. She deems the pair as the creators of the future civilization, but they beg to differ. Dora believes that modern civilization is in the process of self-destruction, which her partner agrees with. For him, true democracy will rise after that, wherein human minds will govern the world, not money. However, the Baroness disagrees because she thinks one's mind isn't enough to host grand dinners. Changing the subject, Friedrich wonders where she plans to set camp, and the woman informs him that she wants to stay on the beach. He forbids this since there's no potable water there, so he offers to guide her group to the nearest water source. Shortly after, the Baroness is getting intimate with one of her lovers in the reservoir when Margaret confronts them. Quickly, the lover threatens to hurt her with a machete, but she explains that they're ruining their only source of drinking water. As her husband rushes to protect her, the aristocratic woman assures them they're harmless. She reasons that she merely needs a bath to wash away the salt from her.
Yo, control your fucking nigga, man. Yo. Ooh, no wonder these niggas get shot. Oh my goodness, this nigga.
Body. Proudly, she introduces herself and urges them to kiss her hand, which the couple complies with. Curious, Heinz asks why she visited, and she reveals that she'll be their new neighbor, planning to build her hacienda on the beach. Then, she introduces her engineer, Rudolf, who estimates that it'll take time to develop their well. Therefore, she requests that the couple allow them to use their water source in the meantime. Before leaving, she hands the husband a stack of mail and orders him to give it to the doctor. In compliance, he delivers the letters, but Friedrich discovers that they've been opened. Heinz insists that he isn't the culprit, which makes him suspicious of Eloise. Dora believes that the new settler framed him as an invader of their privacy. With this information, he confronts the Baroness about trying to pit him against his idol. Calmly, she reasons that the doctor started the trouble, as he showed her the Whitmer's water source instead of his. She hypothesizes that Friedrich wants them to fight each other to get rid of them from the island. Moving on, Eloise presents him with a newspaper featuring her plan to build a hotel on the island. She boasts that it will be the most exclusive resort in the world, and names it Hacienda Paradiso. When Heinz is skeptical, the woman reprimands him for questioning her ambitions. The next morning, Heinz, through Margaret's help, successfully corrals a wild cow into a pen, securing them a supply of milk. By spring, the Whitmers celebrate when their first vegetable starts to blossom. However, Eloise's voice breaks their momentary happiness. She informs the family that her group will live near their camp. Intrigued, Margaret volunteers to speak with her, and the Baroness assures her they'll only stay in the area until her hacienda is finished. That night, their new neighbors start a party in their tent, disturbing the supposed peaceful night of the married couple. The next day, Friedrich watches in dismay when he discovers that a boar has broken their fence and ruined their crops. A few weeks later, while he's taking a bath, he hears a gunshot from afar, making him realize that Heinz must be hunting. Since they have no food left, the doctor visits his residence, but he starts to feel envious that they managed to build a stone house in a short period. Putting his feelings aside, he offers Heinz a box of chickens in exchange for a cow's head. Once the negotiation...
A box of chickens for a cow head. Nigga, what type of bartering is that? Man, if this goofball was born back then, he would not survive, my nigga. In terms of like exchanging or trading. What the fuck? Bro, what type of exchange is that?
Putting his feelings aside, he offers Heinz a box of chickens in exchange for a cow's head. Once the negotiation is done, Margaret requests that he help her deliver her child. Unfortunately, Friedrich declines and explains that he's no longer a doctor, having abandoned his duties in society. Since her husband began cooking the cow's head that evening, Dora wonders if they'll stop being vegetarians. He points out that their crops are gone, so they must resort to eating meat again. The following morning, Rudolf, after digging countless pits, starts to feel helpless when he fails to find a source of water. Moments later, Eloise finishes making love with Robert, so she orders her engineer to heat a can of beef for her. The jealous man reveals that their supplies have depleted, much to the woman's disbelief. She tries to rummage through their storage box, but to no avail. Due to this, she holds Rudolf accountable for mismanaging their supplies, but he shifts the blame to her. He reminds her that she's the reason they've yet to establish their hotel, even calling her a failed leader. On the same day, when Margaret enters their house, she starts having contractions. Despite this, she insists on finishing her chores, unaware that Eloise's lovers are heading to their cave storage. Quickly, they rummage through their chests, but they're disappointed to find dishware only. Margaret experiences another contraction, so she tries to look for her husband. The intruders take advantage of this by infiltrating her residence and stealing the food. Outside, the pregnant woman heads to Eloise's camp, begging her to help her deliver her child. However, the aristocrat and her lovers remain silent, pretending that they're not home. Helpless, the housewife returns home, gathers medical supplies, and lays out a newspaper on the ground as preparation for childbirth. Unbeknownst to her, the thieves are hiding in her house, waiting for a chance to escape. Margaret then endures another contraction, but her attention falls to the noise outside. She rushes to the pen, believing that it's her husband. Upon reaching the enclosure, she's confused to find the cow in distress. Not long after, a group of dogs appears, scaring her. While the woman is fighting for her life, the thieves show their haul to their leader, but she's unsatisfied, believing it'll only last them a week.
Nigga. Oh, no. I was thinking about some diabolical things. Oh, brother. If they kill her, they not finna get no coochie. Nah, I'm like, bro, man, get this bitch out of here, man.
Manuel, on the other hand, urges them to help Margaret give birth, and Rudolf agrees. However, Eloise reminds him that he should only come to her aid. Back to the poor housewife's situation. She's now trying to drive the feral dogs away. At that moment, her water breaks. Due to the animals' threat, the woman screams at them to scare them away whilst delivering her child. In the end, she successfully gives birth, and her family arrives in time to save her from the dangerous animals. The next day, Eloise, alongside her lovers,
Bitch, ain't nobody trying to see them little ass oranges, man. Cover that shit up. Them little ass shits.
visits Margaret and hands her a can of oatmeal as a congratulatory gift. Though she knows it's from their supplies, the housewife accepts it, just to prevent any conflict. The aristocrat then lies that Manuel was the culprit for the thievery.
Bro, she putting this thing under the butt. I ain't gonna lie, bro. This gonna make a lot of niggas angry, bro. The only reason why they keeping her is cause she be offering them niggas coochie, bro. That's it.
But she assures her that he's been banished from the island. Within the same day, a lunch between the settlers commences under the Baroness's invitation. During their meal, Margaret expresses her desire to read Friedrich's book once he publishes it. The doctor points out that he's more eager to finish it on time, but this is unlikely due to constant interruptions from tourists, such as the Baroness. Offended, she calls him a hypocrite since he's sending mail to the editors of newspapers, revealing that he's chasing recognition, just as she is by building an exclusive hotel. Dora feels disrespected, so she criticizes her hotel because it's not even halfway done. Infuriated, Eloise questions her if she wants to have children, but Friedrich dismisses it in her stead. The Baroness continues to press his partner about whether they tried to conceive, but she remains silent. Due to this, the aristocrat wonders if the doctor is impotent, but he denies it. Instead, he reveals that his partner had a botched hysterectomy from a quack doctor. This makes her feel betrayed, so she abruptly tries to leave. However, Eloise forbids her and even orders her dog to bark at her. Angered, Friedrich orders her to leave
Bro, kill that motherfucker. Kill that fucking dog, nigga. It's not a fucking wolf, nigga. What is it?
his island, but she refuses and threatens to shoot him.
Oh, wow.
She then discloses that he doesn't have the right to banish her because she actually owns the property. To prove it, she shows him a document from the Galapagos' governor that granted her ownership of 2,500 hectares of land in Floriana for her hotel. The doctor is in disbelief, especially since he only got 40 hectares. Right after the disastrous lunch, Friedrich tries to trade Heinz 10 pounds of rice for a rifle. The veteran reminds him that he's never been a hunter, but the doctor insists and doubles his offer. By summer, when drought manifests, a starving Rudolf begs the Whitmers to spare him food. Inside their residence, he confesses that Eloise was never a baroness and merely a fraud. On the other hand, he reveals that he was an entrepreneur, and Robert was his employee. He then recounts that after the woman spent all of his money, she invited them to head to Floriana to start anew. One day, Alan Hancock, an American millionaire, visits the island and films his meeting with Friedrich. After taking the shot, he notices that the doctor is drawn to the supplies he brought, so he explains that it's his gift to the settlers. The reclusive man hugs the captain, grateful for the aid. Following this, the captain and his men head to Eloise's camp to see her promised hotel. He only finds a shack, but he hides his disappointment with a cheerful greeting. During the dinner hosted by the millionaire, Friedrich notices that the Baroness is sticking close to their visitor. Therefore, he orders his partner to gather as many supplies as they can, for he knows she'll corrupt the captain. True enough, the cunning woman tries to seduce him. He quickly refuses her.
Real that nigga.
But she remains stubborn, pretending that she's feeling unwell. Concerned, Alan rushes to her side, only for her to pull his hand to her chest and invite him to make love. Suddenly, he bursts out laughing.
Bitch, man, get them little asses on my face, man. That's why he laughing, nigga.
And invite him to make love. Suddenly, he bursts out laughing, explaining that he can see through her scheme to secure his money through marriage.
Come on, man.
The next day, Friedrich returns to gather more supplies, but to his disappointment, the Baroness has taken them. For this reason, he heads to the Wittmers and encourages Heinz to choose a side. Afterward, the pair visits Eloise's camp and orders her to leave their property. However, she simply laughs and accuses the doctor of being a user. Stubborn, Friedrich threatens to shoot her for disobeying, but Robert pulls out his gun to protect his
Man, get that little pew-pew out of here, man.
leader. Before things escalate, Margaret and Harry intervene, leading both parties to withdraw their weapons. Back home, the frustrated philosopher throws his beloved typewriter and breaks it by shooting it. Dora dislikes what her partner has become, so she collects the broken parts and declares that she won't let him destroy their hard work. In the evening, while Rudolph is staying with the Whitmers, he hears Eloise outside, begging him to speak to her. Margaret advises him to distance himself, but since he's weak to his leader, he decides to face her. Outside, the Baroness expresses her gratitude to him, particularly for believing that she's a capable woman. She then hands him a bag full of supplies and permits him to leave the island. Touched, he kisses her and offers to grant her one final favor. Moments later, the Wittmers are awakened when their dog alerts them to an unwanted visitor. Alarmed, Heinz heads outside with a rifle and shoots the person behind the thickets. To his surprise, he discovers that he has killed Dora's beloved donkey. The next day, Friedrich's partner realizes that her pet is missing, so she tries to find it in their garden. When she fails to locate it, she confronts Margaret about whether she stole her donkey, but she denies it. Out of frustration, Dora collapses to the ground, prompting the family to help her. Not long after, Heinz takes the distraught woman home and informs her partner about her situation. Once she's settled, the veteran confesses to his idol that he's the culprit, infuriating him. In the middle of their conversation, the pair notices Robert leaving the area, assuming that he's eavesdropping. Because of this, the war veteran agrees to form an allegiance with Friedrich to overthrow their rival. On their way to the Wittmers' residence, the pair encounters Rudolph, who's evidently scared. He admits that he's responsible for sabotaging Heinz, reasoning that his leader ordered him to. Despite his betrayal, the veteran pardons
Bro. We on the island, nigga. No police, no government, no nothing. Man, we killing that nigga. Fuck all that shit. What? Bro, we getting this nigga out of here. He doing too much. Oh, they feed him, he do stupid shit. They feed him again? Nah, bruv. Some of us gonna get tired, bro.
Him and welcomes him as an ally. Right away, the armed group heads to the Baroness's camp and tries to confront her, but a furious Robert attacks them. He manages to overpower them, but a relentless Rudolph charges at him with a knife. Still, he's no match for Robert's strength and is quickly subdued. Thankfully, Heinz comes to his rescue by restraining their enemy. He then stabs him in the flank, which kills him instantly. Now that she's alone, Eloise hugs the veteran and pretends that she's been saved from danger. She lies that her lover was a possessive man, and she's trying to escape him. Then,
Man, equal rights, my nigga. I'm sucking. Shit, we not on a official lane. I'm sucking the fuck out this bitch. Nah. We do not put hands on females. I'm shooting her. Simple.
she offers Friedrich and Heinz their share of her hacienda. However, the doctor shoots her, tired of her dishonesty. Margaret and Harry, who are busy gathering grasses, hear the shot, alarming them. Before it gets dark, Friedrich and Heinz dispose of the bodies by throwing them into the ocean. The next day, Rudolf barges into the Whitmer's residence and pretends that his co-inhabitants have left without him. In the Baroness's camp, the doctor lies that he received a farewell letter, and the engineer plays along by stressing that it's from Robert. A skeptical Margaret points out that she has never seen any boat, and Dora agrees. Surprisingly, Friedrich also shares the same sentiment, which means he's passing the possible blame on his two accomplices. When they're alone, Heinz complains about his betrayal, but the doctor simply ignores him. Back home, Margaret interrogates her husband about the shot she heard yesterday. She then reveals that she checked his rifle, and she's sure he isn't the culprit because it's still loaded. With this in mind, she warns that Friedrich will put the blame on him because he plans to write to the governor. Helpless, the veteran advises her to leave him, but she refuses because they're a family. Meanwhile, the doctor tries to make love to his partner, but she announces that she's leaving him. She chastises him for wasting his days on their neighbors instead of finishing his book. He reasons that they ruined his life, but she insists it's his fault. Angered, he presses her tooth, reminding her of her weakness. Just then, but she insists it's his fault. Angered, he presses her tooth, reminding her of her weakness. Just then, he grabs a pair of pliers and removes her inflamed teeth to teach her a lesson. Later that day, Margaret meets with Dora and offers some chickens, knowing that theirs are sick. Rudolf, on the other hand, begs a boatman to take him to Isabella, determined to avoid his sentence. The next day, Friedrich's partner serves him a plate of cooked chicken, unaware that they're the sick ones. He tries to offer her food, but she refuses, claiming that her gums are still bleeding. Shortly after, the doctor suffers from food poisoning, and Dora happily points out that he can now be immortalized. He realizes that she poisoned him, so he curses her before breathing his last. Once autumn arrives, the governor confronts Margaret about her husband's involvement with the Baroness. The housewife denies it, but he shows her a newspaper where Friedrich blames him for the woman's demise. Moreover, he shares that Dora confirms her partner's accusation, much to Margaret's disappointment. This time, she stands firmly by her words and even confesses that Friedrich's lover killed him using their sick chickens. As proof, she emphasizes that she gave her neighbor healthy ones before the incident transpired. At the shore, the governor offers the Whitmers a boat ride away from the island, but the family declines. Unlike them, Dora boards the boat, still carrying a grudge against them. Following the grim events, it turns out that the doctor's partner returned to Germany and perished from multiple sclerosis in 1943. Before her passing, she published her account regarding the incident in Floriana, but Margaret responded with her book contradicting it. Unfortunately, Rudolf and the boatman passed away when their boat ran out of gas. In the present, Margaret had passed away in 2000, but her descendants still live on the island, managing their tourist hotel.
Subscribe to watch more.
That was a fucking 10 of events. Shit, I'm gonna see y'all boys in the next video, man. I'm gone.
Call me Master Zen, cause I'm a flick the bands.